everyone, to our first episode here in the 2022-2023 school year. Justin Burtis with you here, and we're going to try and get you some more podcast episodes out this year. And our first one is going to be with head men's soccer coach Jesus Chewy Miramontes. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing well. It's been an up and down a little bit first season, but overall I think it's been well. I'm excited.
Well, good. We brought you on for a couple of reasons. Obviously, you've been here for a while, but this is your first year as head coach. So we wanted to try and explore a little bit about who you are, where you came from, all that. It's also part of our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. You've got your roots in that. So we're going to dive in and get to know a little more about you. So you played here, which is part of your home feeling as to why you have stuck around so long. So how'd you get here? What was a little bit about your playing career here as a Lion?
Yeah, so one of my older brothers came here back in '87. Ramon, he's was the first of four brothers that actually played here. And I was recruited right out of high school with the success that my brothers have had here. So, Coach Dave McLeish had brought three of them here, and I was the fourth one to play here. So, super excited when I was asked to come on board. But I kind of grew up, watching these games as right around a 13-year-old, and watching these the program just flourish into what it was. And Coach Dave, did a great job of bringing in some great players at the time.
Looking at it from a coaching perspective now and kind of reflecting on how things were at the time when you were a player, how much has the game changed in the conference versus how much has it kind of remained the same, or is there any difference at all?
Totally. I think with some of those other teams that we used to play against, the conference was very tough. With the Azusa Pacific and Fresno Pacific, just the landscape of all those teams that have now gone D2 it was a tough conference back in those days. Not saying that it's not tough now, because with the addition of Menlo and some of these other schools and Hope joining in and over the years it's become once again a stronghold across the NAIA.
What, if you had to pick one or two maybe, do you have a standout moment from your own career that you would highlight?
Yeah, I was one of the first teams to ever defeat Westmont. Westmont was a big time program, and we could never beat them. So I know previous years we had tied them, but my junior year, I believe we had gone to the conference semifinals, and I think they were the number 11 team in the nation, and we ended up upsetting them 2-1 at their house to get to the conference final. And when we got to the conference final, we had played against Azusa Pacific. I believe they were number 2 or 3 in the nation, and we were tied 1-1 with them with 7 minutes left, and we missed a PK. Oof. So we probably would have saved that PK. We probably would have won our first conference tournament championship back in '97. I believe '96, '97, right around there. A long time ago. but yeah, so that was probably one of the biggest memories as a player. Just came up a little bit short on that, but gave a valiant effort with the guys that we had. So it was great.
So then, we've talked a little bit about your career here, but let's talk a little more about you. And obviously, as I said, part of the reason we wanted you is to share a little bit about your heritage. So speak a little bit of that and where you came from, where some of that plays into it.
Yeah, so my parents came here from Mexico. They back in the late early '60s, and I'm a family of eight siblings. They came from a small town in Nayarit called Bella Vista, and it's about 2 hours north of Puerto Vallarta. So it's a nice little. It's really like a small town. It's a small little pueblo out there. My mom migrated here too. My dad followed, and what my parents have done is been remarkable. We have there's 4 of us that played here, but there's 5 college graduates from here. So they came here just really instilling the hard work and the desire to to become, a great family and to kind of show us kind of the way of hard work is gonna make, open up some doors for you if you continue to do the right things and continue to strive to be the best you can. So, them coming here, they migrated to Oxnard and they, moved to Fullerton, and that's where, I was pretty much my whole life. I've been out of Fullerton. I went to Sunny Hills, so I've been through all the Fullerton schools, but it's been a tough road at times, within the family. Having a family of 10 was definitely not easy for my parents, but 5 college graduates from Vanguard is a great testament of who who we are as a family, and what Vanguard has done for my family, and it's just been a blessing.
What are some of the aspects to the tradition and heritage did they bring with them here, and what are some that you enjoy the most or try and continue?
I think that, like I said before, just hard work and determination. It wasn't easy for either one of them. Having 8 kids, 6 boys and 2 girls, and I think parents are working long hours, and then they turn around and have to be parents at home. So Dad was up at 5 a.m. He was a construction worker, and be up at 5 a.m. to come home and still get us to to baseball practice and still get us to soccer practice. And my mom the same way. She was waking up early, going to work, coming home, and cooking dinner, and keeping the house clean, and making sure that they could do the most for us, because obviously we didn't have a ton of money, but one thing we did have in our house was a lot of love. I mean, for having 8 siblings, we get along great. We were in a small 4-bedroom house with obviously having to deal with each other a lot. That's a lot of bodies under one roof. So, but I think overall it's just the love that they showed us, and the determination to become better people.
And where are you? What sibling number are you?
I'm the baby, so I'm number 8. So I got away with a little bit more than what the other people did. By the time they got to me, they were a little bit worn out. So I was blessed at times to get away with things.
Hey, that has its advantages, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what was it like having 7 older people in front of you? Like, I don't know if you do Thanksgiving or equivalent for some other holiday, but is it chaos? Is it controlled chaos? Is it structured in any way?
We were, and the crazy part is they had 10 in 10 years, so we're all about a year and 3 months apart. So
oh wow,
yeah. So when my oldest brother was 10, I was 1, so where I'd just been born. So we're all from 65 to 75. So my grandma played a huge part in it. With those first 4 or 5 years until she passed. But it was just a lot of hard work within my parents, and then my older siblings obviously became I wouldn't say father figures, but they really helped out as far as when they were old enough to drive, and just transporting and really doing things around the house. We were all pretty much involved in everything that went on, so it was good.
Was there ever a family picture where you had all of you in a nice little line?
Funny you say that, but one day we we had hired a photographer, and we took a picture of 8 of us for. I forgot what it was for, but I think we had done it for either their anniversary, something like that. But we took a picture when we were younger, and 30 years later, we ended up taking the same picture. So it's kind of nice. It's good.
That's cool.
Excuse me.
So then, to then move forward, you get done playing here. What brought you to coaching? What were kind of your ambition goals after you graduated?
After I graduated, I wanted to be a special ed teacher, and I started working in group homes, in which I enjoyed. So I worked in some group homes in the area for about 4 to 5 years, and then I got into club coaching. So a good friend of mine, Mike, had been working for the local club, the Patadores, and he had asked me to come join with him. He was a director, so he had asked me to come, and I enjoyed it. Go back from there. I had already started right out of high school is coaching for my alma mater at Sunny Hills. So I'd already had 6 or 7 years of experience coaching at the high school level, and the club was really kind of like starting to really get a lot bigger. A lot of teams were growing. The Patadores were growing, so I joined with the Patadores right around 2002, I believe, and then so I was already going into that direction, and I was still working in group homes and working with in the local area, and then but I've been with the Patadores since right around 2002.
What from that desire to teach kind of translated into the coaching world, and what was new being a coach?
I mean, I think they kind of goes, side by side with things. It's like, you're still teaching, you're just teaching differently. I really have a part of my heart is to work with special needs kids and with this, mainly autistic kids. I really find a passion and a joy for that. But obviously God's opened up some different doors for me through coaching. And now I get to really, try to mold some of these young adults, and give them good Christ-like characteristics that I think some of these young adults lack at times. Through the teaching. What I try to do a lot with the guys is obviously some daily devotions with them, but I think that's why I'm here is to really kind of open up their eyes and really try to lead them to God, and their walk is going to be their walk, but if I can introduce them and try to have them get a relationship and build a relationship with the Lord, I think it's big for me, and I really enjoy doing that.
Talk a little bit about then your faith and how that has kind of come along. Was that something that was always in your family lifestyle growing up, or is that something you developed later on your own?
So we were Catholics growing up, and we weren't devoted Catholics. We weren't going to Sunday school and all those things. But my parents are strong believers in the faith of the Catholic Church, but coming here, it's every single one of my siblings has become a Christian. So it's been good, and I became a Christian, I believe right around my sophomore year. And that's when I was really kind of introduced to God, and when I really kind of started having a relationship with Him. So it was kind of nice, and that's why I kind of look a lot of times for I try to have a balance of bringing in some of those, not saying that they're non-believers, but they're Catholics, and I want to lead them to a relationship with God. So sometimes it brings some of those kids in the Vanguard, and that's the awesome part about Vanguard is the fact that we try to bring kids in that know Jesus, but they don't have a relationship with Jesus. So that those are some of the things that I try to that I try to do, and look for kids with really good characters, good characteristics, and really willingness to be good people.
Yeah. So making wherever they are in their own faith journey, just driving that to a deeper relationship.
Absolutely. And I think it's important, especially, with this day and age, it's like with so much stuff that's important to these young adults. It's, bringing in these student athletes that we want them to kind of flourish, not just in school, but within their faith.
Then a little bit about your coaching philosophy and what you're looking for on the field then.
For me, it's just to be graceful. Honestly, it's not just on the field, but off the field as well, is show people compassion, and we all must make mistakes in life, and that's what God did for us. He sacrificed, His Son for that, for us to kind of to mess up, and we do, especially on a soccer field. It's like it's such a quick game, it's such a turnover game, but you have got to show grace to each other, and I really want to instill that, and it's not just that, it's just life is your coworkers, your girlfriends or your the people driving in, and that's what I tell these guys. It's like you got to be graceful to the guy that cuts you off, and even the small things like that. So those are some of the things that I really want to instill in these guys is just to be compassionate and to really show grace whenever people mess up, because we're all going to make mistakes, but I think that's a good quality to have, and that's one of the things that I'm really pushing on these guys.
They talk a lot in the pro leagues about this guy does this guy does that. Does Chewy have his own brand of soccer, football, if you will, or are you more ambiguous on that?
I think I'm pretty. I mean, honestly, like you have to adjust to what you have, and obviously we all want to play a great style of soccer. I study, what Pep does. Pep Guardiola is the best. I believe he's the best coach in the world, and he's his philosophy and his tactics are very good, and obviously with him winning so many trophies, but it's unrealistic to what we can do here. He's got the best players all on one team. So if I go out there and try to instill my ways of this is how we got to do things and only this way, then I think I won't be as successful as I've been. You have to adjust to obviously the opponent, and you also have to adjust to the player personnel you have coming in. If you want to play a tactical style soccer and you don't have the personnel to do that, then you're gonna be losing some games. So sometimes you have to play direct, and sometimes you have to play relieve a little bit of pressure. But there's no one right way to play. When you're coaching, and that's through club and that's through college as well, and even my high school teams, it's the exact same way. It's like you have to be able to adjust on the fly, and if you don't, you won't be able to read the other team and break it down. But if you're gonna just continue to play the same way, you're gonna struggle at times.
So we are in the midst now of conference season. Somehow we're almost to the halfway mark of your year, which is crazy enough as it is, because I feel like we just started the year. But, some of that is unfortunately due to the Alabama trip getting canceled because of all their weather. At time of recording, you're heading into a double weekend for GSAC play. William Jessup on Thursday, Menlo on Saturday. So far into your first year, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling? And what are you looking for here now that you've got one conference win against San Diego Christian on the board, and kind of what's the outlook going forward?
I think across the board, the conference is pretty wide open. You get some good games from some teams, and then you kind of see them. Okay, they squeak by this win, or they end up tying the game. So I think with the tie situation, coming into play. Where there's no overtime, it's really going to kind of throw a wrench in things, because there's going to be some, the first place team is going to end up tying a few games. So points are going to be a little bit different, or it's going to be a little bit of a tighter race. I think that this week with the NorCal teams coming in, it's every game's going to be a battle. That's the way the GSAC is. It's pretty level. It's pretty level in a lot of ways. And you can't look at the next opponent. So you got to concentrate on who you play, and then you just readjust on that next game. Going from there, we got a tough trip coming up to Arizona, and then it doesn't get any easier. I think we end up playing the Masters in Westmont, and that those guys are coming into town, and Masters has beat us the last couple of years, and Westmont, we know Westmont, they're always a solid group, and this being Dave's final year over there at Westmont, they're going to play with a lot of passion, a lot of pride to try to get them that trophy this last year. So it's going to be a roller coaster of a ride. I think someone's gonna come in with some ties and some losses, and we'll see who ends up at the very end. But all the way across the board, Hope's having a great season as well, and So it's definitely going to be a barn burner, I think, all the way to the end.
And how are you feeling about the squad from where we were a couple months ago in August, where you're getting training camp going, to now? What have you kind of seen improve, and what are you looking to see continue to improve?
I think that I have, these guys have really bought into what I'm trying to do, and we're really on a good level right now, with our mindset. I think, obviously change is always tough, for players, and now they're really cohesive with each other and within my staff as well. So they're doing a great job. They're working hard. We just came off a great win going down to San Diego and playing. So we're really kind of on a high note. But as tough as it is, I mean, we're just about to get into the thick of GSAC. So it's definitely going to be a grind from this point forward. But I'm looking for the challenge, and like anything else, I mean, I'm going to make mistakes as a head coach, and that's what I try to tell these guys. I mean, I'm not going to come out here and win every single game. I also have to grow as a head coach as well. So, and that's what I try to tell these guys is I'm not going to be perfect. No manager is. So for me, it's show me a little bit of grace as well, as much as I show you guys. So it's got to be a two-way street there. But I think they're really doing a good job as far as buying into everything and really kind of being in it for each other and for the program.
And you got some offense there from a couple different players in the past few games. So that must make you happy that they're defending a little more up to your game plan and finally starting to get a little offense going as well.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys, I think going forward, I mean, firepower, we have a ton of it, and we've done a good job at during spurts of the game of really defending well. And sometimes it's the game that dictates it. You're up 3-0 and you get a little bit of you get a little complacent and lackadaisical and you concede a goal. But that game against San Diego Christian was almost a perfect game. We could have had a couple more, but we just one of those things where you give up a goal in the 80th minute and then now you have the next 10 minutes to kind of fend off this group that now has something to strive for and to get after. So. But we did a good job after conceding that goal, and I think these guys, put in a good 90-minute shift.
Well, we're excited for a couple home games coming up and to see where this team will go going forward. So if you are around Vanguard University, please get out to the soccer field, both for the men and the women's doubleheader home games here. Obviously, Menlo and William Jessup. Menlo on Saturday, William Jessup on Thursday this week, and another Thursday-Saturday doubleheader coming in a couple weeks' time with Westmont and the Masters, which are kind of the main rival games since Hope is going to be an away GSAC game this year. Now, before we let you go, obviously we've gotten to know you some, so let's get to know you a little more with some off-the-wall random questions that we got here. So, Coach Chewy, Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane's?
Chick-fil-A.
Why?
The spicy deluxe. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good sandwich. Absolutely.
There we go. What type of place do you find yourself drawn to the most if you're traveling or such? Beach, mountains, forest, desert, and there's a couple more, but what kind of is your favorite place to go relax at or explore?
I'm definitely more of a beach guy. I enjoy the sun. Enjoy the sun a lot. I enjoy the calmness, especially at night. The calmness at night and watching the sunset. So I would say the beach.
If you had to choose which one you would be a pirate or would you be a ninja, and why? That's a good question.
I'd probably be a pirate. I just like the Pirates of the Caribbean.
There you go.
So it's one of my favorite rides. So definitely.
Need Need to say no more. What is your favorite time of the day, your favorite day of the week, and favorite time of the year?
I would say my favorite time of the day is the evenings when everything's kind of done. You know, you're just kind of relaxing at home. Same thing with like Fridays when you know like the work week's done. Well, my work week's never done with that.
I was gonna say because you got games on Saturday,
but at least you know like okay, like I don't, you know, I'm pretty much done. And this goes on to when obviously I was working inside of a special ed classroom that I knew that you know I was done for the 5 days. So I think that's kind of where my you know where my thoughts are. When you ask that, it's, you know, because I was working in a special ed classroom for 20 years. So, so on Friday, when I get out of the special ed classroom, it'd be like, oh, I'm done for the week. You know, it's like, let these kids kind of run around at home and then come back with even more problems. But yeah, so I think Friday afternoon is usually when I'm just kind of like, no, okay, nice. So kind of get a little sigh of relief and then kind of get ready for the weekend. So,
favorite time of year? It can be season or month or whatever.
I mean, I would have to say summer, just because I have a little bit more time off. You know, sometimes I enjoy, you know, obviously the beach. So I would say summertime, just because I know I can kind of clear my mind. You know, fall's pretty tough mentally at times. You know, with obviously college and club but. You know, and winter's always nice as well because I know that that's the end of the season as well. So, you know, I kind of torn in between that. And then there's so many great holidays, you know, during those times, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and, you know, you really get to be around family. So I'm kind of torn between both of those, you know, summer and winter. And fall and spring, they're just kind of there, you know. Those are the times that I'm grinding out there. So, but definitely summer and winter are probably my two favorite.
Last one, we'll wrap this up. Favorite flavor of ice cream?
That's a great question. It's a great question. I'm a thrifty guy, you know, thrifty ice cream. For people that don't know, it's the old Rite Aid. But thrifty ice cream, yes. Number one, there used to be a thrifty up the street from where we grew up, and we'd go down there with a quarter and get it like a triple scoop. But chocolate malted crunch. Chocolate malted crunch is good, and I'm a black cherry guy as well. So just completely different, but definitely chocolate malted crunch and black cherry just kind of depend on the mood that I'm in.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, how hard was it to go down to the ice cream store with 7 older siblings?
Oh, man. It would be tough. It would definitely be tough. But, yeah, so those ones were usually out. So it would probably just usually be me and my buddies riding our skateboards down there and getting something, you know, maybe like a single or a double. But back then it was like, I think it was like 10 cents for a single, 15 for a double, like 25 cents for like a triple. And, you know, we'd go down there with a quarter and get a triple scoop, so it was pretty good. The good old days.
Yeah, that's right. We could love to have some quarter ice cream back. Yes, that's right. For sure.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach Shuey, thanks for joining us here today. We're excited to see where you take this team the rest of the year, and we'll be seeing you back out on the soccer field soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Pleasure.